Tweet, that was funny.
What is up, Wise Take Nation? It's your boy Brewmatic47 here, as always, with my partner in crime, Mr. Clint Petrakis, at Clint Petrakis on the Twitter machine, also known as Shocky. You can find me at Brewmatic47 on the Twitter machine as well. Welcome, everyone, to our weekly PGA DFS Wise stream. This week, we are talking about our second major of the year. I feel like I'm in May right now, because that's usually when I say that, because that's usually the PGA. But lo and behold, here we are for the U.S. Open, coming to us live from Mamaroneck. Yes, that's how it's pronounced, Mamaroneck. Yes, because it's an hour away from my house. So I've been to Mamaroneck a couple times. Never been to Wingfoot, but because that's bougie and I'm poor. But
and suck at golf.
Also, fair point. I feel like these courses, it doesn't matter if you're good or not. You just go and play them to play them. You know, it's
more fun to do well at.
Well, yeah, but Mamaroneck or Wingfoot's also a private club and a very, very, very expensive and exclusive private club. So, regardless, Mamaroneck, New York, at Winged Foot Golf Club for the U.S. motherfucking Open. We're here. We did it. We made it. We finished the FedEx Cup playoffs, and now we have some majors. Go figure. What a year. Yeah, so this is weird. We don't ever have majors in the fall for good reason. So yeah, this is weird for everyone. But we're gonna embrace the weirdness, and we're gonna play some golf this week. I hope everyone is as excited as I am. Again, this is the U.S. Open, typically one of the hardest, if not the hardest, test of golf that we see year in and year out. So yeah, pretty fired up about it. Before we get into this week, Shocky, what did you think of the Tour Championship and the Safeway last week?
Well, Dustin Johnson wanted vengeance from last year, being injured, and maybe next year Brooks Koepka wins it because he's injured during the playoffs, and now he's going to win next year. That's how it's going to go.
Sure.
Safeway, I didn't watch it because, like I said to you before pre-show, if Phil Mickelson is $10,000, it's not a good event. And
Siwoo Kim is the top price golfer.
Yeah, that's how you know it's bad. And yeah, I just didn't watch any of that. I took the week off from watching it just because I knew most of that field wouldn't be here. So it wouldn't have mattered that much. But no, Dustin Johnson just made a cool like $17 million in earnings in a month. So yeah. I guess that's okay. If you want to put, and his brother got a little richer too for being his caddy. But the funny thing over the week was last week was Phil Mickelson's tweet, because I don't know if you see this.
I'm not sure.
The bet.
No.
The bet.
Yeah.
The guy. Some guy bet 45,000 on 75-1 odds on Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson got word of it, tweeted out because if you remember, Mickelson was at this was held in 2006 at Wingfoot. Mickelson was up by 2 strokes going into the final hole of the event and double bogeys it and loses by 1. So Phil Mickelson tweets out, he's like, well, he better hope that I'm up by 3 going into the last hole.
Still remembers it. I did see that. Yeah, still. That finish was wild, too, because there was like the entire final group was all they needed. One of them needed was a par to win, and they all made double bogey. Like all 3 of them made double bogey.
And that's how it's going to be this week, probably. Someone's going to be top, and it's going to be like the BMW Championship, where making pars is amazing, and +5 probably won't kill you. You might get I think the cut that weekend was 10 over.
Yeah, +10. Yep.
10 over. You made the cut. Yeah, it's not gonna be it's not gonna be 700. It's gonna be just imagine the BMW Championship, but somehow harder.
Oh yeah, not even like somehow like this like that's just what U.S. Opens are. I mean, this is like U.S. Open last year at Pebble Beach was an outlier because Pebble Beach is inherently a shorter course. There's not a ton of length that they can add to the course. Courses like Shinnecock and Winged Foot, there's a ton of length that you can add, and you the par, and now all of a sudden you have a very long, very fucking demanding course. And that's what we're going to see this week.
And it depends on whether it be plus 10 to cut or the plus 6, 7 cut would be pin placement. Because the BMW, they put those pins in the hard. They did not allow any give to those pin placements. You had to be spot on. It's either you were 5 feet away or 90 feet away, basically.
Even like the roll on these courses. Like there's videos out now of how fast and firm these greens are and the roll. And not only is it going to be insanely difficult to hold these greens from like long range out, just if you hit your putt a little too hard, it's just going to fucking run. Like all I can think about is Phil Mickelson chasing after his putt at Shinnecock and hitting it while it was still moving because he figured that the 2-stroke penalty from hitting a ball while it was still rolling was going to be better than wherever the fuck his ball wound up on that green.
Yeah, it could be like the Memorial, how fast those greens were.
Yeah.
Where it looked like they were concrete.
Oh, it absolutely is.
Yeah. And they're not flat greens.
No. These greens are just horrifying.
Yeah.
Who was it that said again, I think it was Jeff Ogilvy. He said that it's like beautiful and scary. The green complexes here are beautiful and scary.
Yeah. Yeah, so
which also describes most of Westchester County, where Mamaroneck is. So it's perfect.
Yeah, so it's not gonna. If you see your guys +3 after one day, you're doing really well.
Yeah.
But
it's probably going to be like T1 is probably going to be +3 after the first day.
Yeah, so it was like after 3 days of the BMW, it was like 2 people under par.
Yeah.
So it might be that might be amazing compared to this week.
Yeah.
Unless Dustin Johnson keeps putting his magic in and somehow doesn't miss any shot ever.
I mean, let's not forget that amazing final hole or the final hole to force the playoff from John Rahm too. I mean,
the best part about that was it's like he makes a 45-foot birdie to put in the playoff, then Rahm makes a 66-foot birdie to make it, but Johnson only missed his 45-foot birdie in that playoff hole by like 5 inches. He almost did it twice in a row.
Yep. Yeah, he left it close, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, I didn't play the PGA at all. I didn't play last week at all. Last week was just such a garbage event. One of the worst fields we've seen in a very, very long time. Well, I guess since like the Rocket Mortgage, but probably much worse than that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll get into this week real quick. Couple things I want to touch on real quick before I wax poetic in my course breakdown is this is a U.S. Open. This is going to be hard. There's not going to be a ton of scoring. This course realistically has like 1 or 2 birdies in it. Everything else is just par, like thumbs up for par. Last time we played here was in 2006 because the U.S. Open is on a rotation. So if you're looking at recent form, okay, you're probably not going to have any for this specific course. Yes, we can look at how people have played in past U.S. Opens because the USGA pretty much sets up the courses kind of the same, just as fucking hard as they could possibly be with really thick rough and really narrow fairways and really rock hard fast greens. So I think there is something there, but just going into it when you do your research, just be cognizant of the fact that the last 5 years of U.S. Opens, not a single one of them was at Winged Foot. Fun fact, I discovered this in my research, and this might be a good trivia question someday. Tiger Woods played here in 2006, and he missed the cut, which was his first missed cut in a major in his career.
But do you know what happened that same week?
And tied the record for consecutive made cuts in a majors. So that's mine. No, I don't know what happened that week, but that was my little.
Or like right before his dad died.
Oh, all right. All right.
So that's probably why.
Yeah, that's fair. Also big this week, the cut. The cut is not top 65 in ties. The cut is top 60 in ties. So we're losing. Yeah, it's getting even harder. This week is just getting even.
A couple. So 5 of 6s are even better. 4 of 6s are even better. If you have 6 of 6 and don't make money, I don't know how. Unless you have everybody tied for 70th or 60th.
Even then, I have to imagine like historically, the 6 of 6 rate at this event has been like 1%, if not less than 1%. We've seen some carnage with getting 6 of 6 this year. I don't know if I've had a week where I've had 6 of 6 in my cash lineup yet. I don't know if it's happened yet this year since the restart. So this might be the week. Yeah. No, probably not. Yeah, top 16 ties, so it's going to be that much harder to get 6 of 6 through. 5 of 6 is going to be live. 4 of 6 is going to be live. I mean, unless some crazy chalk hits. I mean, I guess it's possible that all the chalk plays make the cut, but it seems highly unlikely. All right, let's talk about Winged Foot. Winged Foot Golf Club is located about an hour and a half away from me in Mamaroneck, not Mamaroneck. It is not Mamaroneck. It is Mamaroneck. It was built in 1923. I know you wanted to call it Mamaroneck. I know. Petrikis. Built in 1923 as two 18-hole complexes with an east and west course, this week will be played on the west course. Both of these courses are regularly ranked within the top 100 courses in the country. The course was designed by legendary course architect A.W. Tillinghast, a.k.a. Tilly, and then updated in 2015 by Gil Hance, who tacked down a couple hundred yards, made the greens a little larger so that they could put the pins in harder locations, and widen the fairways, which sounds like it made it easier. But the reason they widened the fairways was so that there was more bunkers in play in the landing zones. So not really. This course also features a cutting-edge sub-air system under the greens. So pretty much whatever the weather does, it's not going to affect the greens. If we get a saturating downpour overnight, the sub-air system is going to be able to dry the greens out, and they will still be firm and fast. So, yeah, don't look for some weather to make things easier this week. When I wrote this, we hadn't seen the actual scorecards from the USGA, but since I wrote this, I have seen a picture of it. Looks like it's playing around 74-75. I think technically it's 74-69. Nice.
74-77.
The scorecard I saw was 74-69.
Oh, so, well, you're wrong.
Whatever. Around 7,475 yards. Almost 7,500 yards. Possibly more depending on where they put the tees, which will play as a par 70 with 2 par 5s and 4 par 3s. The 4 par 3s here offer a little bit of relief compared to the rest of the course, as the hardest par 3, the 243-yard third hole, was ranked as the 7th hardest hole on this course, with a par rate around 60%, but a bogey rate around 33%. Birdie or better being only like 4%. It is the only par 3 in the top 9 hardest holes on the course. Now, a lot of this is coming from
2006.
So keep that in mind. They've made some changes since then. This is just kind of giving everyone an idea. I wouldn't take this as rule of law. The short 162-yard 7th is the second easiest hole in the course, with birdie or better around 10% and a par rate of 73%. Par on this course is a good score. We aren't going to see many birdies here. The other par 3s aren't anything crazy. pretty much a sub 10% birdie rate, around 60% par rate, and a bogey rate around 30%. The two par fives here offer a little bit of relief, but not much. The 565-yard
Par 5.
Yard par 5 tacked on an extra 50 yards from 2006, but still should play as one of the easiest holes on the course, while the crazy long 633-yard, yes, I said 633-yard 12th hole isn't really gettable in two, but should allow a decent look at par.
Well, for Bryson it is, if he can hit an iron.
And land it in the fairway.
Yeah.
As you can guess, the teeth of this course are the par 4s, with 12 total. A whopping 7 fall within the 450 to 500 yard range, and of the 9 hardest holes in this course, 8 of them are par 4s. So yeah, par 4 scoring this week is going to be important. I'm not going to break down the percentages from 2006, since there are a lot of different yardages here that may change things. Just trust me. Strokes gained, par 4s. From the tee box, narrow tree-lined fairways that, because this course is hard, get tighter and tighter the further out we go. Yay! There are, of course, bunkers guarding the landing zones, and one of the reasons this course was widened back in 2015 was so that the bunkers were more in play. There's been a ton of talk about the rough here as well. That's pretty much what the USGA does. They grow the fuck out of the rough and then trim it up by event start. Should be about 3.5 to 4 inches thick on the first cut, and a nasty 5 inches in the thick stuff, 5+ even. Basically, if you hit it into the thick stuff, you're fucked, and have a decent shot at just not being able to find your ball at all. As for the greens, as the previous champion put it, beautiful and scary. They're POA with the expansive sub-air system that will keep them very firm and fast. They all vary in size, but are equally hard to hit, as greens in reg here is well under tour average, as is driving accuracy. They have segments, too, that will do totally different things to your ball depending on which side they land on. There are hills, slopes, mounds, moguls, massive false fronts that will just eject your ball off the green if you don't carry them, which I'm pretty sure is what happened to Phil. I'm pretty sure he hit one of the false fronts, and his ball just, rolled back all the way out into the fairway. So, yeah, should be a fun week. That's pretty much winged foot. It's going to be a motherfucker. Shocky, anything you would like to add?
Scrambling.
Scrambling around the green?
Yeah. Scrambling in general, because you'll be doing a lot of scrambling, most likely. Fairways gained, because of hitting the fairways is important to making par. Not birdie, par. Driving distance, a little bit of driving distance just because of the length. Par 4s, 450 through 500 yards. That is your most common hole length on this course. Bogey avoidance, then your basic tee to green ball striking approach off the tee, and some greens of regulation. I'm not saying you're going to get a birdie, but I'd rather 2-putt for pars than 2-putt for bogeys, because I love 2-putt for pars this week. And that's it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Around the green approach, these long range proximities, because with these long ass par 4s, you're going to have a lot of the 175 to 200 and 200 plus. That will also hit your par 3s. Par 4s from 450 to 500, driving accuracy, a little bit of driving distance, because historically, if you can hit it far and accurate, that tends to, be beneficial. Little off the tee, little bogey avoid, little double bogey avoid, and some putting, a little bit of putting. That's what I'm all looking at this week. So yeah, let's get into it. This 10K range is massive with 6 golfers this week. We have DJ at 11.5 and Colin Morikawa at 10,000. Shockey, where are you going?
Real quick, let's just announce, in case you don't know, Scotty Scheffler is not playing. And there is one other guy. Horsfield is also out of the event. In case somehow you had him, he's not playing. But it was 10K. What?
And Brooks Koepka.
Oh, well, you had to be listed on a DraftKings page to be out from already being in. But without Brooks Koepka, it's anybody's major.
Yes, exactly.
It's the first time you can live bet a major and not worry about Brooks Koepka. For the 10K range, I don't have him down, but you can obviously play Dustin because he is the hottest golfer on the planet right now. So that you can play him. I have no problem with him. I'm not my main lineup or a few top 3 lineups. I'm not just want to. I don't know where you come in because he is the highest price guy and all that, but everybody knows how he's playing, so I'm assuming he's going to be one of the higher owned in this upper tier range. But I'll go with Rory. My model this week, I did all those categories I talked about. Then I put hard scoring relative to par as difficult. And in the last 24 rounds, Rory comes 5th in my model. He has been playing consistent golf, more sporadic between all of his basic categories. But he does do well at difficult scoring courses. At the BMW, he came 12th, and he gained over 4 strokes tee to green. He also is in the last 24 rounds on difficult scoring is 2nd tee to green, 2nd ball striking, 3rd in driving distance, 44th in fairways gained, which is better than his usual. Like, he hasn't been hitting as many fairways lately, but on these difficult courses, he's been better. And 4th in greens and regulation with 18th in bogey avoidance. He struggled at these long, difficult par 4s. But everything else is pretty good. His scrambling isn't great, but I think he's projected to be one of the lowest, currently tied to projections as the lowest owned in this category. So I like that. And that's Rory. And then John Rahm. Rahm is first in my model. Rahm, he had an amazing run in the playoffs. Everybody looked at Dustin, and you saw what Rahm did at BMW. But he had a 6 at Northern Trust, a win at the BMW, and came 4th at Tour Championships. Only 30 people, but still, and started up high. But he didn't fall apart, or he played solid golf. Rahm's in my model.
I gotta run. I'll be right back. Keep talking.
Okay. Rahm, in these difficult conditions over his last 24 rounds is 5th tee to green, 2nd in bogey avoidance, 6th in greens and regulations. He's hitting greens and limiting the mistakes at these hard courses. In the past 4 U.S. Opens, he has made 2 of the 4 cuts, and he missed a cut in 18 and 17 with a 23rd back in 16 and a 3rd back in 19. Back in 19. Last year, he came tied for 3rd. For the other guys in this range, I like Justin Thomas too. He grades out just as high as Rory, so I have no problem with Thomas. And Xander Schauffele as well. Like Rahm, Thomas, McIlroy, Schauffele, all in this top 10 rankings for me this week. Schauffele is projected to be the highest owned in this category, which is the only reason I was off him. But he's a fine play as well. And so is Morikawa. He grades out just outside the top 10 at 13th. Surprisingly, Dustin Johnson is actually the worst one at hard scoring courses, mainly because of his fairways gained, but he's been just over his last few events has been hitting fairways decently well. So but I'll go on to the 9K range while we're waiting for Brew. I'll go back to Daniel Berger. His amazing season didn't result in the top 10 at the end of the season, but it's still a great showing him by him in the season. He grades out 8th in my model this week. His putter's been a little shaky in these last couple events, just barely, losing less than a stroke per event. But he has gained strokes tee to green and around the green in 5 straight. And on these types of courses. Difficult scoring. He's 8th in long par 4s, 30th in fairways gained, 15th in scrambling, 19th tee the green, 23rd in ball striking. So he fares well. His worst stat category is bogey avoidance at 52, but that's his worst one for the ones I have. Then I go down to Tony Fino at 9,000. Fino, for some reason, seems to become a new player on the putting surface. He has gained strokes putting in 6 of his last 7 events. He comes 9th in my model this week. His gained strokes tee to green in 4 straight, while gaining strokes off the tee and approach in 3 of his last 4. He is the best in this field on these long hard par 4s, 9th in bogey avoidance, 8th in driving distance, has struggled with fairway gains being below 100, but he is 25th in scrambling, 16th in greens and regulation. And basically, except for being 122nd in fairways gained on hard courses, nothing is outside the top 25. Then my last guy is Patrick Catley. Catley's been struggling since the beginning of July with his play, what he could be doing, but he's projected below 10% in this range, around 7 to 8% as of right now. So it's more of a leverage play in this range. Bryson and Catley should be the lowest owned in this range, but I like Catley better because his irons have been, his approach game's been more consistent. And his putting can still be there. He's only lost strokes putting in 2 of his last 6 events. His worst iron week was at the BMW, and he still came in 12th. So he has other parts of his game that can lead him to a good finish. For the other parts of this range, Hideki was fine. He was fine. Not really on him or Webb Simpson that much. Bryson would be last for me. I don't trust where his all-around game is right now. Even his putter has been back and forth in the last few events where it's been either amazing or terrible. And he's lost strokes on approach in the last 3. His game is concerning right now going into this event. And he's still not back, so I'll go on to the 8K range. I'll go into the 8K range. Fitzpatrick. I'll put Fitzpatrick at 8,000. Fitzpatrick finishes of late have been really amazing or really bad. In his last 5 events, he has 3 top 10s and 2 missed cuts. He came 14th in my miles week. His irons finally came back at the BMW Championship. He did not play in the Tour Championship, didn't qualify, and did not play last week at the Safeway. His putting has been great. He's only lost strokes putting once since the break. In his last 4 U.S. Opens, he has finished 54th, 35th, and back-to-back years of 12th place finishes. So he's done well at these harder scoring courses, and it shows it. The only thing he struggled on is driving distance, or he's just out the top 100, but he's been super accurate with his driver. Hasn't bogeyed a lot of these harder courses, hits greens and regulation, scrambles well. He just does everything well, and I like Fitzpatrick at the bottom of this 8K range. And then Tyrol Hatton at 81 is going to be the chalk most likely. He's 11th in my model. His gain strokes tee to green, off the tee, and approach in 4 straight events. The only thing he struggled with on these harder courses is scrambling, being just outside the top 100. A little concerning, but he's fared well everywhere else. He can hit the ball. He's about just above average in driving distance and fairways gain, while being 11th in bogey avoidance. Then a little kind of leverage play, just like Cantlay, is Justin Rose. His game has been up and down since June. The bright side is when his game is on, he's really good. Rose in his last 5 years at the U.S. Open has gained the 7th most total strokes. But coming down to it, he is going to be a boomer bust play because of his recent play. He's made 3 of his last 5 cuts at a U.S. Open, and in 2018 he came 10th, and last year he came 3rd. Now, someone I haven't played all year or written up or anything is Tiger Woods. A few reasons that I like him is that he'll be probably below 10% with lower owned guys in this 10K range. Tiger's putting was, like everybody knows, he's one of the best putters week in and week out. He has lost strokes putting in 5 straight, which is worse has been in a while. His irons, though, have gained strokes in 5 straight. His tee to green game has gained strokes in 3 of his last 4. So I'm hoping with him is that he can figure out his putting. Because if he figures out his putting this week, the rest of the game hasn't been that bad. It's been his putting that's been killing him of late, which I have a feeling that he will pick it up here soon.
All right, I'm back.
You're back?
Oh, whew. That was bad.
Shouldn't have had those laxatives.
There's a decent chance my wife may be trying to poison me.
Yeah.
But normally I love rice and beans too. Whew.
Okay, I got all the way through the 8K range with me.
Oh wow, you're done with the 8K range?
Yeah, so you can go through yours. 10K through 8K. Then I'll just tell you who. Like, I'll just mention the guys I'm on, just so you know.
I'm sorry. My apparently the smell just got to my wife and she's blowing up my phone right now. So I'm sorry. All right. I caught the beginning of this 10K range. For me in cash, it's Xander. Xander just plays really fucking well at hard courses and majors, big boy events. I think he's kind of gets overshadowed by Brooks as the big game hunter, but I think Xander has just as much potential there this week. I'm with you on, like, you can play DJ if you want to. I prefer Rahm as well. I'm on board with you there. He's first in my model as well. I'm completely off Rory. I know you were on him, and yeah, his ownership I'm sure is going to be minimal, so I get it. And maybe he turns it on with his new baby swag, but I don't know. We'll see. I haven't seen it from him at all recently, so yeah, I'm going to be off him. And Morikawa's fine too. I'm leaning Xander more in cash with how little guys make it through to the weekend. I definitely want to try to prioritize guys that can certainly make the cut, and I'm sure Morikawa will. But I feel like there's more upside with Xander, and he has a similar cut-making chance as Morikawa. Getting down into the 9K range, of course, Daniel Berger. Things Shockey invented, without a doubt. He's probably, he's going to be the cash play in this range. If you want to go up, if you want to do a 10K and a 9K, I think you can this week. Otherwise, I honestly don't mind starting with Daniel Berger, because try to get as many good golfers in, as many of these more expensive guys in as you can. I think will be beneficial, but I think you can do Xander and Berger as well. Berger's just been electric this restart, and even before the restart. 10th in the model, third best golfer in this field on par fours. Good at avoiding bogeys, putting decently, good around the green, good with his irons. So, yeah, definitely Daniel Berger. You could go Webb too if you wanted to. I'll throw two cash plays out from this 9K range. Webb's fine too. He's grading out decently well in the model. My concern is that 175 to 200 proximity range. His numbers aren't great. And he's really good at avoiding bogeys, but really bad at avoiding double bogeys, which is a little strange to me. But everything else is decent. He's not super long off the tee, but he is super accurate, and I think that the accuracy is going to be more relevant this week than the distance. Obviously, if you're semi-accurate, and even if you just hit it in the first cut of rough, that's going to leave you in a better position than if you have to take a lost ball penalty because you can't find your ball in 3 minutes. And yeah, so Webb's fine too. I prefer Berger, but Webb is completely fine as well. 8K range, Jason Day. Day's been playing really well since the restart. 8th in my model. Again, irons, wedges. That's a Jason Day to a T. He's been playing well. He's been putting well. His off the tee game isn't the best. His accuracy leaves a little bit to be desired, which is concerning for this week. But I think the irons are there. I think his wedges should be good. His scrambling. He had a little trouble at the BMW, but if there's anyone that I trust to do well around these greens, it's definitely going to be Jason Day. Adam Scott. I'm a mark for Adam Scott. I like Adam Scott a lot. His putting's kind of fallen off a little bit this year, but historically he's been a better putter than he's been showing us. Good on these par fours, good around the green, pretty long off the tee, and relatively accurate as well. So I think those two can come into play. He does better on difficult courses for sure. And I think if he can get his putting right, he's shown some flashes of it with a 25th at the BMW, a 22nd at the PGA. He won the Genesis going all the way back to there with only 1.6 strokes gained putting, but he just teed a green and approached the shit out of that. Moving on down here, I was in love with Scotty Scheffler, but that's apparently not going to be a thing this week, which is odd. But then I'll go down to Tyrol Hatton. Another guy who's been playing just really well. I mean, more often than not, we've seen him higher priced, up in the higher range here. Irons are good. Proximity range is good. He's got no red numbers. Everything is just generally solid. His distance and his fairways gained are almost the exact same number. They're within 12 places of each other. So there's not a huge discrepancy there. So I think he's relatively long and relatively distant, which I like a lot. He putts better on POA. Last we saw him at the Tour Championship coming in 7th, which out of a field of 30 isn't spectacular, but he had a 6th BMW, which is another really hard course. So, I think he's definitely got some upside too, and certainly has the cutting ability. You want me to roll into the 7K range? Give you a break?
Well, it'll technically be your break now. I'll let you know my...
Any commentary on my
9K range was obviously Berger, Fino, and Catley. My 8K range was Fitzpatrick, Hatton, Rose, and Tiger Woods.
Fitzmagic.
Yeah. No, I'll go into the 7K range.
All right, fine. Whatever you want.
Paul Casey. Just because I knew you would say him. He's not going to be low owned by any means. But he comes 4th in my model this week. Casey has surprisingly gained strokes putting in 4 straight events. His gained strokes tee to green in 3 of his last 4. His irons since the PGA Championship haven't been the best. He's lost 2 of 3. but he'll likely turn it around because Paul Casey's game is his ball striking and iron play. Hasn't lost strokes off the tee since January of 19. And in these difficult scoring conditions, his worst is scrambling at 109th. But he's 5th in ball striking, 10th in bogey avoidance, 2nd in long par 4s, 9th in fairways gained. And his approach has struggled at 74th in harder courses, but everything else, there's no other red numbers except scrambling. Then my next guy, former U.S. Open champion,
Gary Woodland.
Jordan Spieth.
Oh, stop it! No,
What is what? No. You get. I am talking. What is Spieth's game? He scrambles really well.
He doesn't have a game right now. He has no game right now.
Oh, he has no game? He has no game?
How did he do last week?
How did he do last week? He didn't do the best. That doesn't count though. That was practice. He was using a new driver. No. Except for last week. He gained strokes on approach in 5 straight. He gained strokes tee to green in 5 straight. His putting has been struggling. That's why. He's kind of like a Tiger Woods. You know the putt, he can putt. Just hasn't been there recently. You know he's one of the best chippers. He's around the green. He's been a great scrambler. He can scramble. This could set up well for him. It's the 7K range. The 7K range are interchangeable. And I'm going to take a chance on a guy that's made 4 of the last 5 cuts at U.S. Open. And you know he's been in these spots before. So Jordan Spieth will make the cut this week, most likely.
No, he's not.
Oh, you know what? When it comes to your 7K range, I'm going to make fun of you. So my next guy is Shane Lowry. Lowry's 17th in my model this week. He is at these harder scoring courses. He is 3rd in bogey avoidance, 7th in greens and regulation in the last 24 rounds. He's wrong person. Sorry, 13th in scrambling. His approach game has been well at 21. His worst number is the long difficult par 4s at 76. But other than that, he's all around solid numbers, and he should be low owned. So I like some Shane Lowry, which I don't think I've played him once this year. I probably won't root harder for Shane Lowry ever since the last time I rooted for Shane Lowry was the Open Championship last year. Because I had some of them. Because you had to play Irish people at the U.S. Open last year.
Yeah, everyone played Rory.
And I played Shane Lowry. Because I was just like, you know what? One of them's got to win.
I'll never forgive myself for not playing Rory at the event that ended on St. Patrick's Day that he won. I'll never forgive myself for that.
You play Irish people and Irish type, if it's in Ireland or Irish themed events that weekend. Harris English. Only reason I don't like him as much as Casey, his numbers on difficult scoring course isn't as great, but he's been playing better than Casey, so take it hand in hand. But him and Casey should be the highest 2 owned in the 7K range, being the same price, and what their stats are different each other. Even though he doesn't rank high in the model, he doesn't have any red numbers, so that's a good thing. It's just a bunch of low, he's not a distance driver. His irons hasn't been great with his irons on these long, harder courses, but he's been a great scrambler, accurate driver, and bogey avoidance. So that's the good news. Then I'll go with my next guy, Bubba Watson. Oh, sure, you react over Jordan Spieth, but you don't say anything about Bubba Watson, who's 100 cheaper.
Well, because Bubba's actually... never mind. Just talk.
Watson 23rd by mile this week. He has been trending up the last three events. In the last three events, he's gained strokes tee to green, off the tee, and approach. Putting is still a concern with him. He's been two of the last three he's gained strokes putting, but before that, he had a really rough ride of things. But just in general, speaking of the difficult scoring, everybody knows he hits the ball long. His ball striking's been seventh best, and 49th in fairways gain, which isn't bad, especially for what his price is. His scrambling is his worst at 99th. So hopefully he doesn't have to do too much of that. His bogey avoidance as well is not great at 112th, but his game seems to be trending up, so I like Bubba this week. My next guy at 7,200 is Henrik Stenson, who I haven't played this year, and it's a shame because I like Henrik Stenson. I don't know how many people do, but I like Stenson.
I like Stenson. I played him a couple times.
Yeah. I wish he was played more, but he's only played 3 events since the break. I don't know if he's been playing a year or two, how much Euro he's actually been playing. But he grades out 26 in my model this week, as he's been the third in fairways gained and second in approach and difficult scoring courses in the last 24. As we know, his driving distance, he's not going to be a bomber or anything like that. But in his last 4 U.S. Opens, he's made 3 of the last 4 cuts at him with back-to-back top 10s at U.S. Opens. And then my last guy is Sungjae Im. He grades in my model really well at 10th because of the difficult scoring courses, but his game hasn't been there recently. I just know that he's played well at difficult courses, but he's gonna be a boom or bust kind of play at 7,500. So if you want to take the risk on him, Sungjae Im is kind of worth the risk.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, I mean, Paul Casey, yeah, like you said, grades that well in the model. Around the green play kind of sucks, and his long-range proximity, 200-plus, kind of suck, which is concerning. But I definitely think he's viable in cash. You know, he did 16th to the BMW, which was really the last hard track that we saw, second at the PGA. So that was... I mean, the BMW was losing strokes around the green, but he putted pretty well. His putting has been progressively improving. Off the tee's been steady, so he does decent at harder courses. So, yeah, I'm with you on the Casey. He's very much plays well. Same thing with English, 11th in my model. Really, really, really fucking good around the green. There's going to be missed greens this week, and, well, not so much missed greens as greens that are hit and then the ball rolls off the green. That's kind of what we're going to see at a decent amount this week. Really good putter. And this week isn't so much about being a good putter. It's just not 3-putting. Because it's super, super, super easy to 3-jacket here. So, yeah, I mean, putters definitely have a little bit of an edge. Good at avoiding bogeys. Good from these on par 4s. Good on the longer par 4s. Off the tee is a little concerning, but he's relatively accurate, not terribly long. So, yeah, definitely wish to see it on English. Usti, absolutely on board with Usti. He's another guy who just, what?
Oh, I didn't say anything.
All right. You made a sound. Yeah, Usti is crazy cheap, and my man Usti just shows up at majors. He just performs very well at majors. No red numbers. Everything's green or blue. Doesn't grade out super well in the model. I mean, he's 34th, so he's not terrible. But, good off the tee. Decent-ish with his irons. He plays well on hard courses. He's just a grinder. He's not going to flash. He's not going to win in a birdie fest, but, he's really good at just grinding. And that's what this week is going to be. It's going to be an absolute grind. He also, if we look at strokes gained in the last 5 U.S. Opens, he's gained the second highest amount of strokes total in this field. He's in between DJ and Schauffele. So, so that's definitely something to take note of. I think he's one of the only. He might be the only person. No, there's a couple other, but one of like 2 or 3 people that has made the cut in each of the last 5 U.S. Opens.
Zach Johnson's done it.
He has. He's one of them. Yep.
Which is surprising.
Well, I mean, again, Zach Johnson. He's been on tour forever. He's another grinder. I mean, he just he plays par golf. There's guys who play birdie golf. There's guys who play par golf. It is what it is. I want to answer, but I don't know if he's a fit for this course. He doesn't play these hard courses very well. Around the green game's been getting worse and worse. Approach hasn't been doing very well. Tee to green hasn't been doing very well. So I'm not big on answer. Moving on down, not Jordan Spieth. Absolutely not Jordan Spieth. Unequivocally.
He's won this. Oh, here, let me use your logic. When you were playing Russell Knox, he's won on tour. Well, my guys won the U.S. Open, and it was sooner than Russell Knox's won on tour.
I didn't recommend him as a cash play.
I'm not writing a cash play.
Hey, remember, after day 1 last week when Russell Knox was second place? How about my boy Russell Knox finally made a cut? How's that feel?
Yeah, wow, he made a cut.
And how about my dude Harry Higgs? Yeah,
but Harry Higgs played well at the Northern Trust.
Fucking Harry Higgs.
Harry Higgs came top 10 at the Northern Trust.
Okay, and he almost won last week.
Wow. Did you play him either of those weeks?
I didn't play.
Okay. Did you play him at the Northern Trust?
I think I had him in some lineups, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. It was a long time.
You didn't play him at the Northern Trust.
I may not have. I don't remember. It was a long time ago.
What?
My last play in this range, my man in chat kind of called it out already, but Lee Westwood at 7K.
Old man.
Well, no, he's only 45.
He seems like he's the oldest in this event just because he's Phil's obviously the oldest, but Lee seems like he's been around for 40 years.
Oh, absolutely. Lee Westwood, if you he's predominantly a Euro Tour player, but he comes across the pond every now and then. Looking at his stats in Fantasy National, nothing's going to pop because his last event was the Arnold Palmer where he missed the cut. So he hasn't played stateside at all. But we see him show up, frequently in these majors. He usually plays them pretty damn well. He didn't play the last 2 U.S. Opens, but he at least made the cut in the 3 before that. Nothing tremendously good, but if we look at his recent form coming in, because he has played in some Euro Tour events, T34th at the English Championship back in early August, T17th at the UK Championship 2 weeks ago, last week at the Andalusia Masters.
Lucia.
That's
not going to be any C that the English dictionary represents.
Lucia. Played at the Wilbur Valderrama golf course. T10.
And he was 8 over and came in 10th.
Yep. Yeah, apparently it's a hard course. Who knew? So definitely on board with Lee Westwood. He's coming in decent form, and he tends to play these majors pretty well. In that same breath, I will also shout out Party Marty Keimer real quick.
Okay.
What's that?
No, go ahead.
What?
No. You're talking. Go ahead.
Again, he's another guy. He's like Lee Westwood. He's a Euro guy. If you run his stats through Fantasy National, nothing's really going to pop. Cut it to the PGA. But in the same breath, where if we look at the same tournaments that Westwood has played in, Keimer has played a lot better. Like top fiving everything. So, yeah, I don't hate a little Keimer. Really either. I mean, Westwood or Keimer. I tend to lean more Westwood. He's just a little bit higher statistically in the model. I think I've just seen him play better at these bigger events than Marty Keimer. As for this 6K range, there's not a ton, of course. I love me a little Ches Rievi.
Yeah.
Sixth in my model at 6,900, which is pretty wild. Outstanding with his irons. The most accurate number one in fairways gained in this field in the last 24 rounds, which is pretty wild. His worst number is his driving distance, which I don't care. Putting is He's middle of the road in this field in putting, which is fine. I'm not worried about that. Really good at avoiding bogeys, really good at avoiding double bogeys, super good on par fives, good from the proximity ranges, decent around the green. Came in third last week, which I don't really care because that was like
confidence builder. I wrote up confidence builder.
Oh, okay. There you go. And that's, Kokrak's okay. You can play Kokrak. He's actually been coming in surprisingly decent form. He's been playing decently well. Putting's still pretty god-awful.
That's Kokrak, though.
As is his driving accuracy, but he's long off the tee, so maybe there's something there. I don't know. I'm not really big on it, though. Munoz, another guy, grades out decently well in the model. Third best in this field in the long par fives in the last 24 rounds. It's a flyer. At this point, we're getting into flyers. No one to invest too heavily in. I like Ches for cash if you got to go this deep, but Palmer's okay. Really good with his irons. Really good with his wedges. That's really going to do it for me. There's not really a ton else. Jaeger pops well, but I don't think that he's had any form recently that's worth looking at. So, what do you got?
I got Reavie, Kokrak. They could go back and forth. Reavie has a little bit better overall numbers that I'm most concentrated on, but Kokrak will be lower owned. So, it's 100 cheaper. That's not that much, but I think Reavie's a better putter, though. So it's close between Kokrak and Reavie, who I like more. The guy that's he's either going to screw me or make the cut. I can't tell. He shot 8 over in his practice round. I know that because he was tweeting at people because of it. Because Byung-Hung An loves Twitter and loves going with the fans on Twitter. 30th in my model this week, though. He struggled hitting fairways, though, on these harder courses. Everywhere else, he's pretty good at. He's a good scrambler at 19th, 7th on irons, 25th in bogey avoidance, 18th in ball striking, 11th tee to green. It's just how badly will he miss the fairways is the concerning part, because, like I said, that long rough is not going to be fun to deal with. But he's made 3 of his last 5 cuts at the U.S. Open, which is an encouraging sign for a $6,800 player. And then my last guy would be Lanto Griffin. Doesn't grade out too high in my model this week, but I really wanted to find a 4th guy. I like to have 4 guys in the 6K range usually, but I was just going on the last 2 harder events that he played on, which was the PGA and the BMW, where he came 19th at the PGA, and 10th at the BMW, where he had his 2 best tee to green and approach games in over a couple months. He's played the U.S. Open once in the last 5 years and missed the cut, and that was 2018. But I like him as a $6,500 flyer. What are you doing?
All right, I assumed you were going to keep talking. That's like all you.
Whoa. Oh, that's all I do is talk. And then I like to see the people at the bottom of the score, like John Augenstein, J.C. Ritchie, some real powerhouse names at the bottom of the 6. Yeah, we got Edward Roussad. I can't see the end of his name.
Sabate.
And it gives me an error code when I click on his name on Fantasy National. So
good.
that he's
God.
What? That's how good he is. John Pack. There's Dan McCarthy, not Denny McCarthy. Maybe it's like Denny's dad is in this somehow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, some of these guys don't even have stats, which I don't get how you get into the Open.
They're USGA club pros.
Yes, yeah, like the maintenance guy is playing here.
Because they couldn't have the usual regional qualifiers like they usually do.
Yeah. So we got
like the US Am champion and stuff like that. Like they couldn't do it. So
we got Brandon Wu playing. So he played at last year's US Open, and I didn't talk about Hovland anymore, but this is Hovland. Hovland finished 12th at the US Open last year. I would like to like Hovland, obviously. You know what? His game recently has just been very inconsistent. It's
very weird.
It's like Sungjae Im. Sungjae Im and him, like even like Morikawa after his PGA Championship, but he hasn't looked that great. You know, these young guys are hitting like a rough stride of things. It seems like.
Yeah, which is to be expected. I mean, Bright Light's big city. You know, it's
not as much as Morikawa. Morikawa has been the best of them, but I mean,
yeah,
it's just interesting. So it's time for Brandon. I'm not going to play Brandon Wu, but watch him steal the show from all of the young guys because he is.
I feel comfortable saying that that's probably not going to happen.
He played last year. He played.
Oh, my boy Shugo.
Oh, that's.
Shugo Imahara.
Yeah. Oh my God, Shugo.
WGO.
The one thing that is way too late, but I'll say it anyways. When you were mentioning Pebble Beach and all that, the reason it was easier than any recent US Open was because there was no wind for 3 days. The wind didn't come to the last day, and that's why it was so easy. Because the only thing that makes Pebble Beach hard is the wind, and they had the calmest days there was in like that event history.
Shugo Imahara, 65th in the world. Just saying.
Oh, your other boy, Jazz Janamatan is also playing, like always.
My dude. That's my boy. Or he was like 1 week, 2 years ago.
Like for 6 months.
I'll always treasure the memory of watching him play through in a pairing with Brooks Koepka.
Wow. That was his best moment as a golf pro.
Actually, maybe DJ. I think it was DJ.
Tomato, potato.
Exactly. So, all right, Nation. That's going to do it for us. Be sure you click the like button. Click the notification bell. Give us a thumbs up. Subscribe so you know when we are jumping on. We provide content throughout the day. We have MLB. We have NBA, NASCAR, esports, whatever you want. We provide it to you. Pick up a day pass if you're catching this for free and you're unfamiliar with us at the Nation. You like what we're doing and you want to check it out. We are here for you. Whatever you guys need, that's what we base our whole existence on. If you're in the Slack, just add us in the Slack. If you need anything, DM us on Twitter. If you're not in the Slack, and we'll try to help you out as best as we can without giving away the goods. Because, the paywall is a thing, but we will help you out as best as we can. Any parting words, Shockey?
No, but it'll be interesting. Well, I guess it'll be interesting to see the fields for the next few events because of the Masters in November.
Yes. Augusta in November.
And April.
Beautiful. I'm excited. So, all right, Nation. You guys have a good night. Take it easy. Thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you guys again soon. Peace.
Yeah. To know